3.
Okay, well, Henrik, now we have sound. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back to Dubai. There's been a few changes since last year, but I'm sure it still brings back some very happy memories to be back here this week.
What changes? Yeah, there's a new T on 14.
The waterfall.
The waterfall, yeah. No, it's good to be back. Of course, last year was very special, and well, I know it can't be as special this year because Rory's already won the overall race. But I can make it a very special week for myself by playing well here and hopefully give myself a chance to win. I haven't defended the title as of yet, so I couldn't think of a much better place to do it than here this week.
It's always a time for reflection. You've said before it's always going to be difficult to follow last year, but it's been a pretty good effort so far this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the overall performance. It was going to be a tough one, and especially early doors in the season, it was tough. I was battling a bit of fatigue, and when you're in a bit of a bad spell, if you're tired, you don't have the energy to practice and get going with the game, and it just kind of becomes a bit of a bad cycle. So from kind of late spring and onwards, it's been quite alright, and contended in a few events and had another couple of strong results. So overall, it's definitely not a bad season by any means. I think I got close to 200 world ranking points on the board, which is always a good indicator for a strong season. And it's a win that's missing, and hopefully I can take the opportunity here. Otherwise, we'll try and come back and do it early next year.
Thanks, Henrik. We'll open up for a few questions. Like to start us off? Ian, down on the phone there.
Henrik, you talk about the fatigue, which was obviously the product of such a great year last year. Is there anything that you will do differently off the back of what, as you say, is a successful year this year to counteract that for next year?
Yeah, I'm excited about next year's schedule. I feel like I found a good rhythm to it, and giving myself those breaks for rest and practice and good work and everything. So I kind of had a great formula from 2012 and into 2013, and I felt like I slipped out of that one a little bit due to a lot of different reasons, and I'm excited about trying to get back into that, because it was a pretty good recipe I had. So I want to get back to doing all the little bits and pieces right, and focus on all those processes, and rather than trying to find your game when you work on your game when you're out here, I'll do that work away from the tournaments, and when I'm out here, I'm here to be fresh and ready to compete, and it is a challenge to get it there, but it's definitely doable. Playing a few less tournaments is one part of it. I played 31 tournaments in 13. I think I'm down to about 28 this year, and I would like to get it maybe 1 or 2 off again for next. So I think 26 is probably a good number for me. So yeah, it looks good. And we know how much golf it is from March all the way through the FedEx. It's virtually tournament. It is tournaments every week, but it's a very packed part of the season. So if you're not coming in there feeling reasonably fresh and practiced, then you're trying to catch up throughout that whole period. And that's where I was this year, and I don't want to be the same next year.
Mike at the back.
Thanks. Henrik, do you give yourself a bit of a break after this event before you start again in the new campaign, because it's been a hell of a season, and there must be some sort of fatigue right now, so
yeah,
can you get away from it?
Yeah, I think the good thing for me, I only played 2 tournaments in 8 weeks here after the FedEx was done. I had a couple of weeks off, Ryder Cup, a couple of weeks off, played the Royal Match Play in England, and then another couple of weeks off when I was a baby. So I haven't played that much golf in the last couple of months, and then we had this run here with 3 tournaments. But I'm heading back to the US when we're done here. I'll play Tigers tournament because it's in Orlando, so I can stay at home and drive across town, which is nice. Otherwise, I would have been pretty much done and dusted after this week, and then I will start up in Abu Dhabi again. So I got more of a break, and I'm traveling less during that break as well, because that's the other problem. If you got a few weeks off and you're going to go back to Sweden, you're going to visit family and friends, and I did that a couple of years ago, and I said, no, that's not the formula. Everyone comes to see us. We're not trying to go to everyone. I've done enough. 30 weeks on the road is enough anyway. So we're going to spend Christmas in the US, and then I'll be back down here. So I'll probably get about 5 weeks off and some family time, and should be ready to go in Abu Dhabi. And then I'm also taking all of February off in the US. So I'm going to be at home and practice and so on. So when the RAL comes, I should be good to go again.
Do you regard the US as home now, I guess, rather than Sweden? Do you get back to Sweden very often?
Yeah, as soon as school's out in the springtime, family goes back. So my family is based about 10 weeks during the summer holidays in Sweden. Then I play probably 4 or 5 weeks of those. I play around in Europe. So I get probably about 4 to 5 weeks in the summertime, and then normally 2 weeks for Christmas, but we're skipping it this year. We're not skipping Christmas, that is. That's trouble.
Henrik, how much do you reflect back on the last Sunday of this tournament last year, and especially on those 2 shots that you hit on the 10th, the 5-iron and the 80?
12th and 18, yeah. I mean,
12th and 80.
Yeah, as I said, I got shot of the year for the 3-wood on 18, but one that I rate equally as high was my 3/4 5-iron in those conditions to the 12th green, which is a very difficult green, and it was a very difficult pin position. And at that time in the tournament, it was a crucial birdie, and that really put me ahead with a bit of a cushion. So that's definitely one of the best shots I've hit. So to have 2 shots like that in the same round is special. And I spoke to someone yesterday, and we talked about the stats, and I think I hit 68 out of 72 greens. And it was the ball striking that won me this tournament last year. I hit, I think, 78% fairways and 94% greens or something. So it was the ball striking. Putting, I was pretty much average of the field, I think, and still managed to win by 5 or 6. So. And I think playing on Bermuda golf courses, it gives a big advantage if you're striking the ball nicely, because playing out of the rough is difficult. You don't know how it's going to come out. You can get jumpers and it can come out dead. It's difficult to judge, and the same around the green. So a solid ball striking week on a Bermuda grass golf course always seems to help a lot.
And when you come back to on the course where you have done so well the previous year, the last time you played, when you make the start on Thursday, what will be your aim, and what will you like to do in the first?
I think one of the dangers is when did I shoot 25 under last year, I think it was. So one of the dangers is, of course, that you can't bring that with you too much, because if you're going to shoot 25 under again, which I love to do, then it's hard work. You got to do it again. I sometimes say to my kid, the ball doesn't know. It didn't know what we did. Just because we won last week, the ball doesn't know that this week. We got to tell that Titleist once again what to. Did you see how I slipped that one in there? Yeah.
Still waiting for this one.
He has to be told again what to do, and it's the same there. I can't. Just because I played great here last year, it's not going to guarantee me anything. Yes, I know a good way to play this golf course for my game, but I still have to do it, and still got to be as focused and patient when I go out there tomorrow and try and do it all over again. But there's no guarantees just because you've done well in the past, and sometimes that could be a challenge as well to kind of let go of that and just focus on what you're doing at this point.
We've got hands on the right.
Hi. Henrik, another question about Tiger Woods. You talked about the tournament. In what way?